I'm Dr. Tiffany Lamont from Lamont Wellness, and today I'm going to be doing a video of a kitchen tour for our house. I would say we're not, I don't think we're minimalists, but I would say minimalist-ish is maybe the best description. But I'm going to give you an idea of what we have in our kitchen and why, and see if this is something that interests you guys. So I'm going to start over here, and I'm going to kind of quick scan of the counter. I'm just pointing that out because one of the things that's really important to me is to not have, in general in my house, a lot of clutter. I feel like my mind is very, very busy, and having a home that is not cluttered and overly busy is really important to me. So I only have on my counter the things that I use pretty much every single day. So I have my Vitamix blender, I have a kettle that warms water, a toaster oven, a bottle of dish detergent or dishwashing soap, and some fruits and veggies, and that's it. That's all we keep on the counter. This is not just like polished up for YouTube. This is actually what our counters look like. Also, as I'm going through these cabinets, you know, if people consider themselves minimalist or not, you're going to notice that there are some people that can live out of a suitcase all their lives, traveling full time, and they have 100 possessions or less. And then other minimalists have a lot more. I don't necessarily like the label of minimalist, but I like the idea of sort of simple living, so maybe we can call it that. But I'm going to start at this cabinet, and I'm going to work my way around and kind of give you an idea of what we have. This is probably the messiest cabinet. So in this cabinet, we have all of our glassware. Other than maybe one or two plastic things, we don't really use plastic for food storage. The lids themselves are made out of plastic. I just don't recommend you microwave with those lids on, but the containers are glass. These are all made by a company called Pyrex. I like that they're all a similar shape. This in particular is what we do our lunches in. We do a lot of batch cooking, or not even so much batch cooking. We take what we made for dinner and then put it in a container for the next day for lunch. So this happens to be a pretty decent size for a meal for an adult, and so we use these all the time. We have a number of them, as you can see. Most of them are clean right now. And then we have other storage containers that are larger. We have a few round ones, but not too many. And then these are the covers from like largest to smallest. We have a few that are like a Snapware version, but in general, they're this Pyrex version. One thing we probably have way too many of is water bottles. So we have these Life Straw water bottles that we use when we travel and stuff, and these are pretty cool because they're pricey, but what they have is they have a Life Straw that goes inside of them. So let's say you're camping or you're traveling and the water is questionable, you can fill this up out of a toilet and you can drink it. And so, not that I would recommend that, please don't do that. But if the water is questionable, I mean, when you go to certain countries, potable water is harder to come by, so in a pinch that's really handy. I will say this though, if you don't have the Life Straw in it, they leak like crazy, which would be a nice feature if you could use it either way. But this whole row is my son's athletic water bottles. He prefers these squeezy Gatorade ones. I guess that's because with his football helmet, he can't like suck on a straw, so he wants to squeeze it. We have a couple of Yeti cups that a friend/patient of ours powder coated. Mine is pretty beat up, my husband's not so much. And these are just some miscellaneous ones. I also have these that they have a cover, and they're part of a flip belt, and the belt goes around your waist and you can put the water bottle inside, or your phone or your keys. This is a pretty cool thing. There's 8 ounces and I have 2 of them. So if you're going on a really long training session, I don't know if you guys have ever used, say, the fanny packs or the ones that you hold. As a physical therapist, I really recommend you don't use the handheld ones. It has to do with the distraction on the shoulder joint. Really, really, really don't do that. I can make a whole video about that as well. But these put them close to your body weight, and they don't bounce and move as much as some of the fanny packs. I have versions of both, but these are definitely the easiest. The negative is it's only 16 ounces of water. So if you're going on, you know, a 6-hour trek, it's not enough. But if you're going on a 2-hour one, it's probably good. Up here is just the caps and stuff for the water bottles. Over here we normally have our extra mason jars, and that's just a water bottle that doesn't fit on this shelf, which annoys my organization self. I'm going to continue on the top shelves and then we'll do the bottom. In this one, Honestly, we could probably get rid of these. I use them so rarely, and we're probably going to move soon, so these might become part of the purge. But we have a stack of these mixing bowls. This is some liquid measuring cups, and these are also some measuring cups that I use as mixing bowls. We have 2 sizes of these for baking. We have a smaller one and a bigger one. A bread pan, a pie plate. Again, I rarely use the pie plate. I could probably get rid of it, but when I get rid of it is the one time I'm going to need it. So I don't know, that one may go in the purge as well. But these are some casserole type dishes. I don't use them very often. This cabinet, I actually love this stuff. So this is our dishes, and I bought these at an antique store. These are like, I think we figured out like 70 years old. And there's this, you know, this cool brand, Kokura ware from Japan. It's called Bonaire. It's so cute. It's very, you know, 50s, 60s, kitschy type stuff. I love them, and it's an 8-place setting. We entertain a lot, so we can't get away with just 3 place settings for our family, or 3 or 4. We have a lot of people over, so we need at least 8, but I think this is adorable. It comes with some serving platters, and I love them. And that's kind of, I think, a minimalist theme. If you love something and it brings you joy, that's a Marie Kondo thing, if it sparks joy in you, then it adds value to your life. But if it doesn't have a purpose, in my house, I want it gone. So this is where we keep our glasses. Up top, also something that I absolutely love. We were traveling in Asheville, and the family that we stayed with, they were a potter, and so I bought this teapot and this pitcher, of which we actually use. I also am not a fan of things that you just own and just sit there and have no purpose. I actually use the things that I love, and they bring me a lot of joy when I do it. Also, you'll notice that there's actually a few more mugs that we normally have, but I like to do pottery myself. So a lot of them are ones that I made specially for my family. So like, for example, this one I made specifically for my son because he likes hunting and stuff. So there's a little like deer antler. It's not professional grade, but it makes me happy, and I think it makes him happy. So that's kind of cool. This is our French press. This is how I make the decaffeinated coffee, and we drink out of these little mason jar things. Probably not super classy, but that's what we do. And then these are a couple of tea glasses. This one's actually really neat. I have no idea. I think this was a Christmas present, but you put the loose tea in it and the hot water, and then there's like a French press version, and you push it down, and it keeps the tea down here, and then you drink it from the top. I actually really like this glass. These little cups are, we use these for a lot of things. I use them to put our liquid vitamins in, the little cocktail that I mix together. I also use these for like trail mix and nuts. It's a good serving size. Sometimes we put ice cream in it, but my husband or son, this is not big enough for them, or they mound it so much they might as well just have gotten a bigger bowl. But that's a good little tip right here, is using smaller serving dishes gives you the perception, whenever something is full, your brain registers that as a full serving. If I were to put this same amount of trail mix in, say, a bowl this size, it's gonna feel like I'm not eating anything. And it's a psychological way of helping to reduce portion size. So that's a little tip for you as a nutritionist. All right, moving on. The only thing up here is our lunch bags. That's it. In this cabinet, also not a ton in here, we have parchment paper on the top, and I don't use really plastic wrap or single-use plastic. I really try and avoid it. I think there's a roll of aluminum foil up there. I have no idea how long we've had it because I use it rarely. And then on this shelf, there's a little package of Ziploc baggies. Again, I think I've had it for like 6 years because I really try not to use them. But every once in a while in a pinch, it's important to have something like that. So I have it, but I try not to use it. This is a nut bag. And I don't think you can say nut bag without smiling, because that's funny. But it does have a purpose. I use it to make nut milks or things like that, cashew milk. I have a whole nother video on making cashew milk. It's old, really old, but that's what I use a nut bag for. I think I bought it on Amazon. It's very inexpensive. These are called stasher bags. I have 4 of them total. These are reusable, and they're reusable like Ziploc bags. Again, I've tried really hard to stay away from single-use plastic and disposable stuff. They're made out of silicone. You can cook in them, you can freeze them, you can just carry them. So this is like a snack size, sandwich size, and a big size. We have another one in the freezer full of bananas. But those are really handy. I can put a link for those down below. And then this is all my spices. I'm not going to go into detail of all the spices that I use, but what I will tell you is I used to have a lot more. And you know, when you're young and someone gives you a gift and you get this whole corral full of spices, you get probably 75% of things you don't use. And in this whole process of simplifying, I definitely got rid of everything that I don't, or I'm really working on getting rid of everything that I don't use. So most of my spices went away, but I definitely have ones that I use regularly, and that's what's in there. The only thing that's up here is one vase. I own one vase. It's beautiful. A friend gave it to me and I love it, but that's all that's up in that cabinet, but I'm not climbing up there. In case somebody asks, this right here, I think this is worth telling a little story about because I love it so much, and it kind of goes with that theme of minimalism, like what brings you joy. So we were on vacation in Canada, and we stopped in this little town, and was it Victoria or Vancouver? Vancouver, right, because that's where the Olympics were going to be. So we went to this artist studio, and he wasn't there, and random person is outside, like, do you want to meet the artist? And we said, yeah, we'd like to. So they go to his house, get him, he comes back, and he takes us on a private tour of his studio. And this particular piece here was his proof of concept for something he submitted for the Olympics in Vancouver. And what it was going to be like 20 feet tall and 16 feet wide, and people would walk between it, and it was supposed to look like a snowy day. I thought that was just the coolest thing. And he had one of this size, and then he had a bigger model, and then he wasn't chosen, so he never got to make the final one, but we bought his proof of concept. And it's just really neat to have that little piece of potential history and something original from an artist, and I really like stuff like that. Okay, so now going into the lower cabinets. This doesn't have much in it. All it has is some pottery. I actually probably have more of this than I need, but most of these things have some sort of sentimental value. They were either a gift or I bought them somewhere in the world when I was traveling, so I really like them. I have 5 things in there. Probably only need like 2 or 3 of them, but that's that. Okay, under our sink, not a ton of stuff. Some paper bags, a couple of plastic bags that we reuse for like the little garbage cans. This is how we clean our house and everything. We don't use paper towels at all. So we have all these reusable washcloths and hand towels. And then we don't have a ton of different cleaning supplies. I use, at least currently, this can change if I find something better, but this is a Mrs. Meyer's all-purpose cleaner, and then we have a refill version of it. So it takes like 1 cap and plus water. So this will last forever. Way reduction of waste. I like that. And we have a thing of dishwashing liquid to refill the one up there. We have some dishwashing detergent. I have done multiple iterations of homemade dishwashing detergent and of varying degrees of success. But the thing that I have found, and I have not found one, and I've probably tried 5 or 6 different kinds, recipes if you will, they don't end up leaving this cloudy residue on all of the dishes after a while. So I'll come up with another little version of dishwashing detergent, and I'll try it, and then I'll go back to some store-bought version, periodically. And then we have, these are, it's kind of a greenwashing thing. These are actually just garbage bags that like can be compostable and they break down. But the problem is if this ends up in a landfill, because it doesn't get oxygen, it's not going to do it anyway. So it's like a conflict. Do I want to like hope that it maybe works out? I don't know. That's a hard one. A couple of magic erasers. These are walnut scrubbing things, and we have a bigger one. And a little tip for you guys, either putting these in the dishwasher or microwaving them will help reduce the bacterial burden of them. I'm not gonna lie, they're kind of gross anyway, but we use them, and I try to remember to put them in the dishwasher, but I think I'm the only one who does, so that's tricky. And then we have a little toothbrush, an old like bamboo toothbrush in here that helps clean, grout and stuff like that. And some rubber gloves, and that's it in there. So in this cabinet, there's only 2 things in here. There's a muffin tin, like a stoneware muffin tin, and 1 baking rack. I used to have multiple baking racks. I rarely bake. I probably don't even need this one, but I have it for now. That's probably gonna go in the purge. Okay, in this cabinet, pretty straightforward, 3 cutting boards. 2 that are like I don't even know what you call it, some sort of plastic type material, but I don't know, and 1 wooden one, and that's all that's in there. And then under here, you'll see we have a couple of baking dishes. I mean, it doesn't matter if you can see it, like a stone, as well as a couple of baking dishes, and that's all that's in there. In this cabinet, normally on the top shelf is my dry container for my Vitamix, but that's being washed right now. There is the tamper for the larger regular Vitamix. Oops. And then my mixer, and I have a waffle iron in here. And this is one of those things that I rarely use. My husband really wants me to keep it. He really likes waffles, so I keep it for him. And occasionally we use it. Probably not super necessary. Okay, and this cabinet is where we have all of our pots and pans and stuff. So over here we have 2 cast iron pans, one of which is humongous. We got them in Maine, and they're really, really nice, but the big one is almost too big. But we do use it a lot. This is a wok, a cast iron wok. I don't use that as much as I probably should. We have 3 little pots and 1 big pot that has a strainer in it, and we have 1 mesh strainer, and then 2 little pans here and their covers, and an Instant Pot, of which I use a lot. That has probably been one of the best purchases I've made in a really long time. Now I'm going to start with the drawers. So in this drawer, there's only cloth napkins. We don't use paper napkins. We've used cloth napkins for, oh my gosh, it must be good, it's close to 20 years or something. A couple of trivets, and normally there's 2 pot holders in here, but they're in the wash. And then silverware, same silverware we had when we got married. The only thing that's in here that's maybe, I have a couple of reusable straws. This goes to a Yeti cup. And then these are actually from a restaurant locally. You need to have the cleaner though, because these straws get nasty if you don't clean them properly. So you put a little dish detergent on them and run it through like this. Do not just run these through the dishwasher. They will mold and all kinds of grody stuff. They are better than single-use straws, and not everyone needs a straw. I mean, these non-disposable straws are kind of like all the rage. Not everybody needs a straw, but if you do want to use one, there you go. And then I have a couple of different versions of a little spork. This was from a student of mine, an intern. Thank you. And then we have some little wooden spoons, like a little bamboo knife for things like lunches, so that you, and another thing to do is wash plasticware. So if you get a set of plasticware, you don't have to throw it away every time you get one. You could wash it and reuse it. And then back here, the only thing you can't see is we have some chopsticks. And then these are our steak knives, or proper cutting knives, I guess you would say. Okay, this is probably the closest thing we have to what most people would consider like a junkie drawer. This has in it a meat thermometer, a potato, like a masher, an ice cream scoop, the mixer blades for the mixing machine, a meat tenderizer, a pizza cutter, I don't know if I need that, a whisk, this we definitely don't need, it's like a pie serving thing, and a grater. That's all we have in there. And then here's even less. I love these, they're so cute. I love my little measuring bowls. Aren't they adorable? And I have the same version of the gift from, these are a gift from a friend of mine when we bought a house. And they're so cute, I love them. And then we have a can opener and a peeler. That's all that's in that drawer. And this drawer, we have our only 4 knives. I like and dislike these at the same time. I like the concept, but they don't actually work that well in practice. So inside, there's supposed to be this sharpener so that every time you put the knife in and out, it sharpens it. It doesn't really work that well though. So we have 4 of these. Little paring knife, another small knife, and 2 bigger knives. That's it. And that, we definitely use all of those knives. I don't feel like we need more than that. This drawer has plastic spatulas and wooden spoons, and a pair of wooden tongs, or actually they're not all wood, they're all bamboo. They're bamboo, but wood-like stuff. And last drawer, this has in it things like spatulas, tongs, a ladle, We do have, I actually hate this spatula, but we use it on the one nonstick pan we have when I think we'd like to get rid of the nonstick pan, and with that will go the one crappy spatula. But that is a complete tour of my kitchen that I would consider minimal-ish, perhaps. And hopefully that helps you guys with some ideas of what you may or may not need in your kitchen. And I look forward to seeing you soon.